Hello all, Jeff here with a new video, back with some more Forza Motorsport content and something that I've been meaning to do for a while. So with the new Forza, the wheel experience is better than it has been in past games, so I thought to myself, what's better for me, controller or wheel? So we got the standard Xbox Series X controller, we're running a Fanatec CSL Elite, so we'll see which one's best by just doing some career mode races and doing those practice sessions before the races. So, you know, 2 car and track combos where I use wheel first and then controller, and then another 2 car and track combos where I go controller first and wheel first, just to see for pace and consistency where I'm at with both. So let's go check it out.
Now these advanced wheel settings are from Walkinshaw, so very much appreciated, mate. So steering axis dead zone, we've got 0 to 100, acceleration and deceleration axis 0 to 95, just in case there's a bit of give with my controller. Clutch and handbrake axis dead zones, I've got 10 to 100 purely because I'm using a button rather than a pedal for the clutch or a physical handbrake, so forgive me for that. Vibration scale is at 60. And then for the other settings, force feedback is on 100, steering self-alignment is on 100, mechanical trail scale is on 90. As I said, these are from Walkinshaw, so very much appreciated. Pneumatic trail scale 120, road to field scale 130, load sensitivity 90, wheel damping scale 15, corner spring scale 10, dynamic damper behavior 85, steering sensitivity is on 50, and we have steering linearity on 50. Keep in mind, I'm using a Fanatec CSL Elite, so with Forza, it's just a lottery to get the settings right for whatever wheel you're using, whether it's direct drive or Logitech. But here are my wheel adjustments. So sensitivity I've got on auto, FF force feedback I've got on 57, DR1 I've got on -1, FEI I've got on 100, excuse my hand at the top right, BLI is on 100, and yeah, that's my settings that I've got that I can change on the fly. So yeah, it's nice having that with a Fanatec, but let's get to action. Alright, so the first car and track combo is the KTM X-Bow GT2 at Mid-Ohio. I'll show you the full lap for these on controller and wheel, and I'll show you the split times at the top so you've got a record of it too. The first one here, for example, is at turn 2 at the keyhole. So we'll just check the split times here. So what I noticed is it's a lot trickier on the wheel, and you know, a tenth up on the controller. So there you go. And then the next sector is at the end of this straightaway. So we'll get the splits for these as well. Boom. So turns 4 and 5, and once we get the times for these, we will go to the next one after this. So there you go, about even there, which is not too bad. Now what I did find is with the newer, more powerful cars was it was a lot harder to get full throttle with a wheel compared to a controller. So a lot of the times I was short shifting on the wheel to just try and limit the amount of wheel spin. As you can see in that split, it was pretty similar, about 10th off on the wheel. And this is the last part of Mid-Ohio, which I did struggle with a fair bit on the wheel, to be fair, like with that wheel spin, just trying to manage all of that. As you can see, I was just way off apex on a controller, and boom. Over a second faster on wheel after 2 laps, whereas beforehand on the wheel, it took me 27 minutes to get the bonus time. So yeah, on to the next car, eh? Next up, we have the 2016 Chevrolet Camaro, or Camaro, however you like to say it, at Grand Oak. So what I found with this car was it was a bit tricky to handle on the wheel. Like, I did spin a lot on the wheel compared to controller. But what you will notice is I was stuck behind this Dodge Challenger in front of me on the controller, which is why some of the times you will see are a bit better on the wheel. I mean, that's just race driver excuses, but I was a lot more comfortable with this car on the controller, that's for sure. And as you can see, wheel was 2 tenths faster around the horseshoe. And look, as I said, I'm blaming this Challenger ahead for that, but because I was feeling a lot more comfortable on the old pad. So yeah, one thing that surprised me at Grand Oak is there's only 2 of these little micro sectors at times used. So very interesting, because it's, it's about as long a track as Mid-Ohio, let's be honest. So actually it is shorter. Sorry, Grand Oak's shorter than Mid-Ohio. It's just we're running a slower car, running a roadie rather than a proper race car. So as you can see, turns 5 and 6 again, wheels still got the upper hand, but I was a lot more comfortable through Gambler the last turn on the controller. And micro sectors aside, 2/10 faster on controller. We spent 10 minutes getting that time on controller, 46 minutes on wheel. Anyway, on to the next car. Now another car from the General, this time Aussie flavour, the Holden VL Commodore Group A, or the HSV Walkinshaw at Maple Valley. Now this was one of the 2 car track combos where I went with controller first and then wheel. Now I did beat the bonus time with both controller and wheel on the first lap, so we're going with our very best time that we'll do later on, just because I thought, well, Maple Valley's making it a bit too easy here to get the bonus time. But for those who've done Logitech G Challenge, you'll know that Maple Valley is no easy feat, as we just cut that corner there and get a penalty, trying to get by the AI Falcon GT, same on controller as well. So that's another thing, like, this AI is so slow around corners, it was very hard to get by them, so it does dictate how fast I've gone on each device. So take that with a grain of salt, because it's not completely accurate towards the end, but as you can see, it's pretty similar. So the first micro sector controller was the faster one, but amphitheater, the wheel had the upper hand. And then just after elevated bend, this Sierra on the left on the controller side just completely gets in my way, just blocks my access to the apex, get really loose, and that's really going to cost us a decent wheel time. We get all sorts of sideways. Regardless, I was very happy with how I went on the wheel with the Walkie. But as you can see, going down Rocket Curb, I was more comfortable on controller. It was just that Sierra that got in the way, and that was why wheel was faster by 8/10, and I did have to spend those extra 2 laps. But anyway, on to the last current track combo. Onto the last controller versus wheel test. So we've got the Dodge Shelby Omni at Lime Rock. So we'll see how we go. So out of these 4 cars that we're using today, this is the only front wheel drive car. So there's a bit of a challenge there. At least I'm not really just going to spin out and face the wrong way. Instead, if anything, understeer and just drive straight into a fence. But we'll see how it goes. I've kind of picked this up quickly, as you see. Controller batteries are low, so let's hope the batteries hang in there for this lap. And as you can see, 3 attempts ahead just through the left-hander and right-hander alone on controller. Down to the uphill chicane. Now, obviously, turn 1 controller was so much faster. And now through the uphill, how does this go? It's about 3 tenths ahead. And then we've got this chicane as well that we're using. So we're using both chicanes here at Lime Rock. And just using all the curb on the controller. Don't really do that on the wheel. So, that just shows how much more comfortable I am on a controller. Now it's through the downhill, the last turn. Wheel had the upper hand there, surprisingly. But it would be an emphatic victory for the controller. And that is all the testing done.
So some very interesting results there. From what I found is, like, especially when I do streams on Forza, if I do an online race, I use a controller for benchmark time in practice, and then I go on the wheel if I've got time. And if I can't match the controller time on my wheel, I'll race with controller. But I do find generally if it's an older car or if it's a road car, wheel is fine. But once you get to the newer, faster stuff, I feel for me, controller's the better option. But again, you got guys like K1Z Tom and Sean Arnold who are just absolute guns on wheel. You may be thinking, oh yeah, he can't drive on a wheel. Just remember, I use one of these to go to a TCR World Final in Europe. So it's just how I've been used to Forza all along, that controller is the better option for me. Maybe that will change in the future. But yeah, if you let me know what you think, that'll be very much appreciated. If you did like the video, appreciate giving me the thumbs up. As I said, leave a comment, let me know what you think, your observations. If you've done this experiment as well, let me know how you went. If you do want to see more of my content, maybe consider subscribing and tapping the notification icon. Anyway, this is Jeff here. Happy racing. Cheers and goodbye.